welcome to Capital of Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Roger.
And today we're going to give you our full recap of this past Saturday's UFC 193. Well, not full recap as in the full card, but we're going to talk about pretty much the main event. If you saw the quick counter preview video, I did a preview of the co-main and the main events, which were both title fights between the strawweight champ and the bantamweight championship. The strawweight championship, I'm sorry. That one pretty much went as expected. But we're going to talk about the one that everybody's talking about. The bantamweight championship changing hands for the first time in the history of the UFC. I mean, it's only, I think it's like 3 years old?
Yeah, pretty much.
But there's only been one champ, Ronda Rousey. And that is no longer true. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, so going into this fight, besides Miesha Tate, I believe we felt that this was going to be a challenge for both women. But because of Holm's background in boxing and kickboxing, we thought that Ronda was going to take advantage of her best asset, and that's taking her opponent down to the ground and putting them in an armbar. But what she foolishly decided to do was, hey, I'm the best women's fighter in the world, so I'm going to beat her at her own game.
False.
Not happening. Now before we go into the fight, let's go back to the day before at the weigh-in. See Rousey-Holm come out. She's cool, calm, collected, maybe a little nervous for the crowd. Weighs in, looks big, looks ripped, looks ready to go.
She always does.
Then we have Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey being Ronda Rousey, coming out amped, intense, business, just ready to go.
I like that about her.
But what she decides to do as soon as she steps on the scale is roll up on Rousey-Holm. Even though they're at the same weight, there is a size difference.
Yeah.
And not only that, she made the mistake of getting in Rousey-Holm's face.
Yeah.
Now, maybe no other woman fighter would have stood up like Rousey-Holm has. Let's keep in mind, Rousey-Holm is a career fighter. She's a championship level boxer and kickboxer.
Yes.
This is just another combat sport that she is engaging in and is undefeated. She was 9-0 going into this fight.
Yep. And she had won a belt in Legacy Fighting Championship. So she had already tasted MMA championship before. Maybe not on this level, but she has gotten a belt in MMA.
Exactly. So what do we have? She rolls up on Holly. They put their fists up. Holly's having none of it. Puts her fist in Ronda's face. And who loses their cool? Ronda Rousey. So two things we discussed were going to happen. Either Rousey's going to be so mad she's going to take this girl down in 10 seconds, or she might have been taken out of her game plan and Rousey-Holm psychologically won that battle.
Yeah. Like as soon as I saw it, I called Rob. I was like, she's in her head. She's in her head. You know what that means. And I was like, no. If y'all watched the preview video, y'all could tell I was on the fence. I was kind of torn. My heart, being having a background in striking myself, was all with Holly. I was like, come on, Holly, you can do this. My head was confused as well because I had seen Ronda look very, very vulnerable in the stand-up, but she negated it every time because she just took this person down and armbarred him. Or she ended up knocking him out because they weren't that good at striking themselves. So I'm having this big conflict in my head, like Holly should be able to just turn and counter her all night.
We had this discussion as soon as we saw that weigh-in, we had it again.
Yeah, and I've been telling people for years, years like, oh man, look out for Rousey-Holm. That girl is a problem. And when it came time, like hearing Joe Rogan talk about how Ronda Rousey was better than sliced bread and Jesus and everything that was good ever put together on this earth, and I'll start thinking, maybe I'm being a hater for thinking that Ronda, like I told some people like in the gym, I was like, her striking is ass. Sorry for the language, but that was how I felt. But then I was like, maybe I'm just being a hater.
Now, we all know striking in the UFC is much different than striking in kickboxing ring and boxing ring.
But Holly has shown in her previous MMA fights that she has adjusted very well.
And going into this fight, she had one of the best trainers in UFC in Greg Jackson. And what did he do? He had her prepared for this fight.
Yes. And that is something that the Jackson Winklejohn camp is known for. They have exquisite game plans.
What do we see in the fight? Oh, by the way, we all know Rousey-Holm touched gloves. Ronda said, "The hell with that. Let's fight." Bad move.
Yeah. Just touch the gloves. I mean,
just be a good sportsman. Just be a good sportsman.
Yeah. It was good TV though. So let's go ahead and break this fight down.
So we seen this thing from Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson coaches
Rousey-Holm,
John Jones.
John Jones, Carlos Condit.
There's this thing that they do is that short kick to the lead leg.
Yeah, they call it the oblique kick.
The oblique kick. It is a simple, very quick, very effective kick to the lead leg, the oblique kick. And Rousey-Holm led off the fight, landing those just ever so slightly. It may not look like much, but until you get hit by one of them, it will take your balance off. It makes it hard to balance and put weight on that lead leg. And then this is where the striker comes in.
Yeah. Rousey-Holm is very accurate to begin with. Then you have Ronda, who's charging in head first with no head movement at all and throwing the very basic 1-2. Holly, being the advanced striker that she is, and southpaw, did a very small trick that we talked about Adonis Stevenson, Manny Pacquiao, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Lucian Bute, the list goes on, of really good southpaws countering the jab like so. Let's go over it again. All right, Ra's going to be in the orthodox stance, I'm in the southpaw stance. Now, when an orthodox person jabs, it's very close to the southpaw fighter being that they're like this. But what they do is they move ever so slightly to the left, to their right, and there's a straight line for the jaw. Bam! Every single time. And all Holly did was land that punch, boom, pivot out the way. Or with a hook, check hook right over the top. And Ronda had no answer for it.
Now, and that was just the counter. It got to a point where she was just like, I'm going to throw the lead left. And she still took herself off the center line, which probably Ronda Rousey was used to, stepping kind of to the left, to the right, and throwing it right down the pipe. You see,
with no hitch in it at all. It was just a straight fire shot, and that comes from years and years of striking practice.
And if you're Ronda Rousey, if you see someone kind of moving to the right, you're not expecting, especially as orthodox, you're not expecting the lead left to come right behind it. But that's what happened. Her body's off center, but the punch stays on center. So it throws her depth perception and it throws her movement off. And for someone that already doesn't have head movement, she's just right for those lefts. And we know it ended in the second round, but had it went 5, you would have seen left hands all 5 rounds.
Yeah. Bernard Hopkins also does it with his right hand as well. I forgot to mention that. That's neither here nor there. Where the fight, in my eyes, was actually lost. Now, we all figured that Holly was going to be the better striker. There was no doubt about that. Everyone thought, including myself, that she was going to get the better of her, but it was only a matter of time until Rousey was able to get her down to the ground, and then it'd be over. Oh boy, did we have another thing coming. Not only was Ronda not able to take Holly down, Holly took Ronda down. And at that point, she broke. When you are already getting beat badly at something that you're not that good at, you like, hey, I got my bread and butter, let's do this. Wait a minute, what's happening? I can't do what I do best. What the hell am I gonna do now? Guess what, Paige? Who does that the best? Certain welterweight that just retired. You take someone's best weapon and say, beat me with something else. And they like, well, hell, I don't have anything else. Fight was over.
Yeah, we've seen Ronda tried to go for that headlock hip toss and got stuffed each time, and one was just reversed where she put it down on the ground. She tried to get that arm bar.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yep.
Defended well. Came out of it. Was like, get your butt up. We're going to do this on our feet.
Yeah. And then she started throwing elbows. Lead elbows.
Who does that well? Guy by the name of Mr. John Jones.
One of her teammates, who she spent a lot of time with, not just in this camp, but in several camps, getting better. So, that was the first round. We get into the second round, more the same. And then at some point, Ronda just, the frustration just bottles over, and she throws one from all the way back in the States to try to get Holly. And Holly ducked out the way. She went to China somewhere. And Ronda stumbled on the ground, hit the cage, and just looked completely lost, completely frustrated, completely broken. And then she walks into the elbow to kick her around the world. Game, set, match.
One more punch on the ground for good measure.
Yeah. And we got a new champ. So where do we go from here? Now they're talking about an immediate rematch at UFC 200, which is like, I think in July or something like that.
They have to get that build-up going.
That's way too long. They should have Holly defend against someone, and I have an idea who. Her name is Miesha Tate. They need to make that fight. Miesha Tate is probably the best woman in that division, not named Holly-Holm and Ronda Rousey. Not probably. She is. She's beaten all the top contenders to get her shot. She was screwed over and didn't get her shot. But it turns out good now because we've got a whole new set of matchups for Holly-Holm to take on. First one being Miesha Tate. I want to see that fight. Now, for Ronda, there's really no way that she can learn the years and years of striking that Holly has learned to catch up with her. So I'm not sure what she's going to do to beat Holly.
Well, we know that her judo is top notch.
Right.
Getting you on the ground. What I would do is just try to come back with a better game plan for striking, but work on her wrestling. And that's more so getting in close and controlling everything from the inside.
Yeah. And she actually is really good at that. But Holly wasn't having it. Holly was physically stronger than her. And for someone as physically strong as Ronda Rousey, she's a strong woman. That says a lot.
But can we talk about the footwork though?
Beautiful.
Always on her toes, constantly moving, keeping Ronda from getting set. It was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it was almost a perfect performance from Holly-Holm. Like, there is not enough praise we can heap on this girl, this woman. The experience, the poise, the precision, the power, just everything. Give this woman her props. This was no fluke at all. At all. So let's see what they got next. Anything you want to add before we go?
Before we go, bring up this whole debate, boxing, kickboxing versus MMA. Please keep this in mind. This was not a boxer who came straight out of the boxing ring and jumped into an MMA match. No, this is a woman who is a career fighter, career athlete, has paid her dues on 3 different sports, boxing, kickboxing, and MMA, to get something that's unheard of, a championship belt in all 3. The first athlete, fighter to do so on the highest stage. This is not a debate that says boxing is better than MMA. Realize that this woman has skills in all 3 disciplines. She just took what she did best and imposed it in an MMA ring. That is boxing, that is kickboxing, and defending against something that she really isn't that good at, which is judo and jiu-jitsu. We should not start this argument. Please do not start this argument. That's all I'm saying. Recognize the skill of Rousey-Holm, the work that she put in, that is just not boxing, but an all-around great striker, and the great coaching that Greg Jackson, the Jackson Winklejohn camp has given her. That's all I ask.
Yes. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video. Share it with your friends. If you have not subscribed, do so. Hit us up on Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Capital of Combat, email capitalofcombat@gmail.com. You got any questions, hit us up. We put you in the combat mailbag. Got technical toolbox coming soon. Should be this week, right?
That's right.
Yep. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming at cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.